child. Grab your tea and get cozy, because this story right here, it's got the internet spiraling. Imagine the joy of seeing your baby, your little miracle, having a sweet moment in the spotlight, only for folks online to turn into armchair doctors overnight, dissecting that precious scene like it's a medical exam. That's what Beyoncé is going through again. Yes, we're talking about her twins, Rumi and Sir Carter. The rumor mill has been in overdrive lately, and baby is getting ugly. People are out here saying Rumi may have a condition, and that Sir's even worse. Yep, you read that right. These internet sleuths without a degree in sight are just throwing around medical speculation like it's confetti at Coachella. No facts, no diagnoses, just vibes, bold assumptions, and a lot of nerve. Beyoncé must be sitting back like, not this mess again. But here we are, and we've got to break it down. Why are folks so convinced Beyoncé is silently struggling behind the scenes with Rumi, and that Sir's situation is even more serious? Why was he noticeably missing again while Rumi was out there front and center? Let's rewind to the Cowboy Carter tour. Baby, it was a moment. Beyoncé turned that tour into a family affair, and when she brought Rumi on stage during Protecta, a song literally written for the children, our hearts couldn't take it. There she was, little Rumi soaking in that love, standing in her truth, crossing her arms over her head in that iconic Protecta pose. And at the end, she spun around and gave her mama the biggest hug. Beyoncé had to stop and collect herself. It was emotional, it was raw, it was beautiful. Meanwhile, Blue Ivy wasn't letting the spotlight slip either. Sis owned that stage like the seasoned pro she is, dancing to America Has a Problem, Before I Let Go, and slaying her solo during Deja Vu. And of course, Mama Tina was there too, with Beyoncé paying tribute to her for her memoir, Matriarch, hitting #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. A proud family moment, top to bottom. But where was Sir?
Today is a big day because my mother, who worked so hard on her book, has the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller. Everybody please say, congratulations, Mama T. 1, 2, 3.
Look, Beyoncé did show baby photos of Sir and the girls during interludes, and she even shouted him out in her thankies. But people noticed and commented yet again that Sir was nowhere to be seen on stage. That absence opened the floodgates for speculation. Social media started talking, and honey, when TikTok doctors start diagnosing, you know things are about to get wild. The chatter that Rumi was stimming, that her giggles, hand flaps, and bouncing were signs of being on the spectrum. And that he must be worse. That's why he's hidden. Y'all, can we not? These so-called experts were saying Rumi didn't act how they expected a child to on stage. She waved, she laughed, she was jumping around. And instead of seeing the obvious joy, love, and childhood, they decided it must mean something's wrong. What? Imagine being so out of touch with Black joy that you pathologize a child simply for being happy. People really have the audacity to say that Sir is worse off and that's why he stays home. The conspiracy theories are non-stop. Some folks even pointed fingers back to Beyoncé's emergency. Yes, Queen Bey has been open about how difficult her twin pregnancy was. She suffered from preeclampsia, developed high blood pressure, and had to undergo an emergency C-section because one of the twins' heartbeats kept dropping. She's shared how her body went through hell. She weighed over 218 pounds the day she gave birth. She's told us that her recovery was brutal. But still, nobody knows which twin had the heart issue. And of course, the internet has decided it must have been Sir. And the internet hasn't stopped there. They even dragged Azealia Banks into the mess. Remember when she called out Beyoncé and accused her of hiding Sir? Said she was ashamed of him? Who? The drama. Some people are even trying to decode Beyoncé's song My Rose, claiming that the lyrics hint at Sir's struggles. Like, y'all are pulling quotes from a ballad to diagnose a child. Really? They're out here compiling evidence, saying Sir has been seen with a leg drag, hand flapping, staring at lights, and making repetitive motions, all while pointing out how Rumi is still present at events and in photos, but Sir remains MIA. They think it's because her condition is mild while his is more severe. And yes, Rumi's been in the public eye. She modeled for Ivy Park. She's appeared alongside Blue and Jay-Z. She even joined the family at the 2024 Super Bowl. But every time people see her without her twin, the whispers start again. Why isn't Sir there? It doesn't help that every time Beyoncé and Blue appear together, like in that Good Morning America interview for Mufasa the Lion King, fans notice Rumi's brief cameo and Sir's absence. The pattern is loud.
Seeing Blue as Kiara and hearing her voice come out of that character. Oh. Give me a second, because I'm still I can't believe that's my baby. Oh, that's so amazing. It was really hard to focus and to do my job after that. So I was like, wait, hold up, guys. Y'all gotta give me a second. I have to digest that. I'm so proud of her. Somebody wants to join.
Now, family insiders insist there's nothing wrong. They say Sir's just laid back, more reserved, not into the spotlight like his sisters. Tina Knowles even said he's quiet and artsy, loves creative stuff just like the rest of the grandkids. But people aren't buying it. They're saying that if Rumi appears to be on the spectrum, then Sir must be too, just with more pronounced symptoms. Some are even saying Beyoncé's silence is suspicious, like she's hiding something. Others argue she's just being a good mom, protecting her children from public scrutiny, and honestly, can you blame her? This is the woman who told GQ she only tours when her kids are out of school, who said peace is more valuable than money, who handpicked Blue's preschool to ensure her daughter could just be a regular kid. So maybe Sir just doesn't want to be on stage. Maybe his parents are honoring his boundary. Maybe he's happy just being a kid without cameras in his face. But people don't want to hear that. They want drama, a hidden truth, a secret.
Well, they're just, they creative stuff. They're all artists, and how could they not be?
And let's talk about Rumi on that stage again, shall we? Because for a lot of Black folks, especially parents, it was more than just a cute cameo. It was powerful, generational. Seeing a Black child be free, joyful, unapologetically herself, that hits deep. Because Black kids have historically been forced to grow up fast, to be strong, to dim their light. But there was Rumi, shining, loved, protected, just being a kid. For some fans, that moment was revolutionary. Rumi reminded them what it means for a Black child to have space, to be allowed to smile, to be carefree. She represented something bigger than herself. And honestly, Bey's always been clear about that. She wants her kids to live normal lives, and yet, every time they peek into the spotlight, people feel entitled to dissect them. So now the question is, are folks crossing a line, or are these conversations important? Should we be talking more about the toll high-risk pregnancies take? Should we normalize discussions about neurodiversity? Or is it nobody's damn business? Because at the end of the day, Beyoncé is doing what any mother would, protecting her babies. Let's be real, the scrutiny Beyoncé faces is unmatched. And when it comes to her kids, it's like the public forgets that she's a mother first. A mother who's fiercely private for a reason. A mother who endured literal trauma bringing her babies into this world. People act like Beyoncé owes them an explanation about her children's health. Like her silence equals guilt or secrets. But what if her silence is actually strength? What if it's her way of protecting the last bit of peace her family has? This is the same woman who told the world she nearly died giving birth. That's not drama, that's fact. She opened up about her preeclampsia, her high blood pressure, how one of the twins, Most, speculates had such severe heart rate drops during labor that an emergency C-section was the only option. She almost lost her babies, y'all. And now people think she's hiding them? No, she's shielding them. So what if Sir doesn't show up at the Super Bowl or on GMA? Maybe he doesn't like loud noises. Maybe he's shy. Or maybe Beyoncé and Jay-Z made a choice, a decision every parent has a right to make, not to force their son into the spotlight. It's not that deep. Or maybe it is, but it's their story to tell, not ours to speculate. Still, people won't let it go. They keep circling back to one question. If Rumi can show up, why can't Sir? And that's where the gossip explodes. See, after Beyoncé's Christmas halftime performance, Rumi was spotted backstage with Jay-Z, Tina Knowles, and Michelle Williams, dressed in matching all white like a tiny angel. And of course, Blue Ivy had her big moment on stage too. But Sir, no sign. Again. Some folks tried to justify it. Maybe it was a girls-only event. But then how do you explain Jay-Z consistently being seen with Rumi and Blue? He took them both to the Super Bowl. They were posing on the field like seasoned pros. Rumi was living it up, waving, smiling, and yet Sir was nowhere in sight. The same happened when Beyoncé and Blue did their Good Morning America promo for Mufasa the Lion King. Blue got speaking time. Rumi popped in for a cute cameo. Sir, nada. And so the narrative continues to write itself. Sir is different. Sir is struggling. Sir is worse. But let's unpack what people are really saying when they use words like worse. They're labeling a child who didn't ask for fame, a child who didn't ask to be analyzed or judged, a child who may simply be neurodivergent, or may just not like camera. And either way, that's his right. Yes, some people on the internet say they've seen the signs. They point out everything from Sir's walk to his gaze, to whether he repeats motions. They say it's clear as day that he's on the spectrum. And Rumi too, just milder. But what is this obsession with diagnosing kids from blurry videos and paparazzi snapshots? Why are people hell-bent on labeling Beyoncé's son like he's a tabloid headline? Some even claim that Beyoncé herself left clues in her music. They dissect lyrics like they're hunting for Easter eggs. In My Rose, she sings, "So many roses, but none to be picked without thorns. I just hope you love yourself like that." Fans interpret that as her talking to Surrick, acknowledging his challenges and pain. They call it her way of sending love to her son without actually saying what's going on. Others argue it's a universal message about self-love. But, of course, the internet ran with the former. And then came the Ivy Park modeling shoot. Rumi and Blue were front and center, slaying, smiling, giving model realness. No, sir, it again. And baby, the speculation just exploded. People said it was a girls-only promo, but let's be honest. If Beyoncé wanted to include Sir, she would have. Jay-Z wasn't there either, but you don't hear people saying he's worse. Why the double standard? Every time Sir is absent, the same comments appear. He's too different. She's hiding him. There's something wrong. She doesn't want the world to see him. And the harshest take? That Beyoncé is ashamed. Ashamed of her own son. The idea is absolutely wild, but it's out there, and it's spreading. That's what makes this whole thing so heartbreaking, because instead of celebrating the beauty of childhood, of neurodiversity, of difference, of quietness, people are attacking it. And you know what? Black children don't get the same grace as others. That's a fact. When a white child stims or rocks or dances offbeat, it's quirky. When a black child does it, people say, what's wrong with them? The scrutiny is different. The tone is different. The assumptions are different. So when Rumi hops on stage and dances her little heart out, and people say she's on the spectrum, that's not just speculation, that's projection, that's bias. And when they say Sir is worse, they're not asking questions, they're casting judgment. But you know what's more powerful than all that noise? Love. Because every time Rumi appears with her family, you can see it. In her smile, in the way Beyoncé kneels down to meet her eye level, in the hugs, the hand-holding, the eye contact. That's love. Unfiltered, unconditional, and unashamed. Same with Blue, same with Sir, even if we don't see him. You know that boy is loved, fiercely, private, loudly, behind closed doors. And maybe that's enough. The internet doesn't need an explanation. Beyoncé doesn't owe the world a medical file. Sir doesn't owe anyone a performance. At the end of the day, these are children, not PR moves, not talking points, not storylines. So where do we go from here? Maybe it's time for us all to check ourselves, to ask why we feel so entitled to the private struggles or lack thereof of celebrity kids. The question why a child's joy can be seen as a red flag instead of a miracle. Maybe it's time we stop trying to pathologize every giggle, every hop, every wave. Maybe we need to stop reading tragedy into every smile that doesn't fit our expectations. Because here's the truth. If Rumi is on the spectrum, she's thriving. She's loved, she's supported. And if Sir does have special needs, he's clearly being protected and cherished in ways we might never see, but can absolutely feel. And isn't that what parenting is all about? Look, it's okay to be curious. It's okay to want to understand. But there's a big difference between awareness and assumption, between compassion and entitlement, between love and judgment. So next time you see a child who moves differently, smiles differently, lives differently, pause before you speak. Ask yourself, am I helping or am I hurting? Because Beyoncé, she's doing what every mother dreams of, loving her babies out loud and shielding them from a world that doesn't always understand their light. And in a world that constantly tries to dim that light, let those babies shine.